So people have been hitting me up on Snapchat asking me if I'm going to make a video on Travis Scott, and I notice everyone else is using this as an opportunity to push their political beliefs and conspiracy theories. Before I talk about Travis Scott, let me clarify that I do believe this is a real tragedy, and hopefully nothing like this ever happens again. It's easy to blame Travis Scott for everything because people just don't know who to blame. Just like when the Columbine shooting happened, people were blaming Marilyn Manson in video games. I'm not saying this is exactly the same, but the reaction will be similar. What I mean is, concert safety is going to be sensationalized in the near future. Every time someone dies at a festival, it's going to make international news. There are going to be groups of protesters that want bills passed. Not to mention, there's probably going to be a Netflix documentary, and then a Hulu documentary to compete with the Netflix documentary. Do I believe Travis Scott is completely innocent?
To the ones that was lost last night, we're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. You know, my fans really mean it.
I do not. He could have handled the crowd in a better way, like how Chester Bennington used to.
Yo! We got a little problem up here.
Pick him up right
Everybody
now.
Up. Sorry, you guys. We gotta look out for safety first, for real. Nobody gets hurt. Guys, get up if you guys are all right. Okay, watch yourselves.
Hey, yo, man. We know we've been stressing all night about being cool, and this is the reason why. Let's go over it one more time. When someone falls, what do you do? When someone falls, what do you do? That's right, people.
While Travis Scott was performing, he didn't stop the show. Now, why didn't he stop the show after seeing people get carried away? There are two reasons. Travis believed that the situation was under control and couldn't imagine the possibility of 8 people dying, as that has never happened at any of his shows before. The other reason is, if he stopped the show mid-performance, it could have started a riot. And I know what you're thinking. The people in the crowd shouldn't riot and they should return in their cars in an organized fashion. But that's not how it works in the real world. The reality is, if he stopped the show halfway, there would have been fighting, rioting, and a good chunk of people would just stay put because it's not like the security had anything under control. There have been conspiracy theories on Facebook saying that Travis intentionally let these people die as a sacrifice for Satan. I don't believe that Travis intentionally wanted any of this to happen. Why would he want the negative publicity? Why would he want the lawsuits? These religious people should consider that Travis might be a scapegoat, a person who is blamed for the wrongdoings of others. What about the venue? What about Live Nation? Sure, Travis should hold some accountability, but not all of it. Believe it or not, Travis isn't organizing everything by himself. Do you honestly believe he's going, yeah, put 5 water stations in the back, about 20 porta potties, 30 ambulances, hire 2,000 security guards in case of a stampede? I mean, Travis does not make these decisions. At least he doesn't make them by himself. I'm sure he's aware of them. I feel like if there was more security, more accessibility to water, then a lot of people could have been saved. Who organized security for the event? Because whoever did needs to be fired and maybe prosecuted. It was actually the city of Houston and Harris County, with Mayor Sylvester Turner falsely claiming that there was more security at Astroworld than there was at the World Series. I don't believe this because crowds of people were knocking over the fence, bypassing the metal detector. In this footage, I can only spot one security guard trying to stop this. Where were the other 1,000 security guards that they supposedly hired? I'm sure you could have had at least 100 by the entrance. Jesus Christ. Security aside, what about the ambulance? The Houston Fire Department stationed 20 ambulances outside the venue with a medical tent, 2 emergency physicians, 6 registered nurses, 2 paramedics, and 9 emergency medical technicians. This was all provided by Paradox worldwide. They were prepared for the usual, people overdosing, but they weren't prepared for a crowd stampede. Now God bless this medical staff, because by the time it was 8:15, they were overwhelmed by people overdosing on opiates, and they stopped documenting patients altogether. Travis Scott has a famous line, "Popping pills is all we know," so there's no surprise that his event would be attended by pill poppers. Let's talk about opioids for a second. Opioid-related deaths have been on the rise for the past few years. Opioids can also take away somebody's ability to empathize with somebody else. It makes it harder to recognize facial expressions or take accountability for what you're doing. I wouldn't be surprised if the people fighting in the crowd and stomping each other to death were under the influence. The medical staff ran out of naloxone, a drug used to treat opioid overdose, about 45 minutes before Travis got on stage. Things were already hectic before he performed. When he finally got on stage at 9:06, the crowd started pushing towards the stage. This crowd crush caused people to lose control of their bodies. Remember the security guards? One of them actually told a concert goer, "It's a mosh pit. What do you expect?" At 9:23, fans began climbing the speakers, not necessarily to get a better look, but for their own safety. This is when people started chanting, "Stop the show." This woman here was telling the camera operator that people were dying.
Okay, we see real quick. Take me, let's do it. Just bring your girl, feel like she profile. Your black nigga run to the ocean. So far we here, trapped on the ocean. I'm just one day away from going I'm just one day away from going.
Now, I understand this woman is worried, but this guy is just a camera operator. He can't do much besides film. I feel like people in the crowd should be held accountable for standing on top of the ambulance and provoking fights with strangers. Scott paused his set at 9:30 and then again at 9:42. By the time it was 9:38, this was declared a mass casualty event and 17 people were transferred to hospitals. The Houston police asked Live Nation to end the event early, and it ended at 10:10. So Travis Scott performed for an entire hour. Over 300 people would have injuries stemming from this event. 8 people have died. The cause of all these casualties is still under investigation. We do know that it's probably not entirely drug-related. People were being stomped to death. And like I mentioned before, many people believe that Travis Scott could have stopped the show early, and there were already people overdosing before he even got on stage. As of today, there have been hundreds of lawsuits against Travis Scott. He is probably going to be sued even though the security was organized by the government and not him. If a businessman messes up, he's held accountable. If a politician messes up, they're not held accountable. So Live Nation has refunded all the tickets, and Travis Scott has offered to cover the cost of the funerals of those who were killed at the festival. People all over social media are upset with Travis, including this woman who wants to cancel Travis Scott, cancel Drake, cancel Kylie Jenner, and for some reason she threw a shot at Chris Brown. I don't know what Chris Brown has to do with anything. It seems like you're exploiting a tragedy to bring attention to something completely unrelated. This person believes that the casualties could have been prevented if everyone had guns. This other person believes the concert would have been safer if everyone in the crowd was wearing a mask. Like I said, people are exploiting this tragedy to peddle their political beliefs. One point people are making over and over again is that Travis has a history of not caring about crowd safety. In 2015, Travis was arrested for inciting concertgoers to rush the stage, and he was arrested for the same thing again in 2017. And in 2019, 3 people were trampled and injured during Astroworld. It seems like Travis is aware that his crowd is rowdy, and he even encourages it sometimes. Here's Travis crowd surfing, and someone tried to take his shoe.
Straight from Mexico, on the Quintana. Come here, bitch. Get that. Get him.
You tried to take my shoe? You want to be a thief? Fuck him up. Fuck him up. Fuck him up. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Boo! 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 Ass up!
Travis encouraged his crowd to attack the shoe thief and then had the security throw him out. I mean, the kid did provoke him at first, but the way Travis reacted was pretty immature. Is this the end of Travis Scott's career? Is he going to get canceled? Well, I feel like he's getting more publicity than he's ever gotten before. He'll probably donate money to some charity and do a public service announcement about crowd safety. This probably won't end his career. Anyway, I'm out.